Hello and welcome back. This is the Rudimentary podcast where we take the basic things and make them more difficult than they need to be. This is episode 5. That's right, 5. We're excited to be here. You're probably more excited to be watching. Before we do the introductions, let's get all the fun stuff out of the way. If you're new to the show, please like and subscribe. Something about algorithms, something about notifications. Anyways, we would like you to subscribe. We'd like to continue to interact with the fans out there that for some reason decide to listen to us. Now that that's out of the way, let's make our introductions. We're going to go to Andy first. Andy, how are you this week?
Doing well. Getting over COVID. Currently have COVID, but I'm a gamer. I'm here.
Wow. Hot take, everyone. Hot take.
What a guy.
And that's enough of that. Nobody here.
Glad we got some distance here.
No, you guys are right next to each other. I see it right on my screen.
I put this wall up though. I put my blanket up over a line in between us.
I was going to ask
cross that line.
Don't do it. This is my line. I was going to ask if you built that wall just like the set behind you. That's killer.
This?
Yeah.
This truck?
This whole thing?
Well, Andy, we're glad you're a trooper and you're a gamer and you're feeling better. Or at least you're here talking to everybody out there.
On the way.
But now that we've talked to you, we'll move over to Funkle. Funkle, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you. It is a beautiful day out here on the West Coast, the best coast, and I'm enjoying it. It's a Saturday, so a lot of beach time. I bust out the hammock today, so I was reading in a hammock under 2 palm trees. How do you feel about that?
That's West Coast for sure.
Yeah.
I would love for you a selfie, palm tree, hammock. We put it up on social media. Yes, absolutely. Andy, you're one for nature. I've known you my whole life. You and nature hand in hand. How do you feel about 2 palm trees and a hammock?
And
I would. Were you sleeping?
No, I was reading a book, man. I'm getting educated over here.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, as long as you weren't sleeping, and I don't know what. I'd be nervous to go ahead and sleep around there, and who knows what goes on, you know.
Yeah, I've been nervous sleeping around you right now, Mr. COVID.
Oh,
yeah. Well, good thing there's a country between us.
The whole country.
A whole lot of country.
A whole lot of country.
Well, if you haven't been with the show for a while, you know that pretty much every episode starts this way. Our first topic of the show, very, very near and dear to all of our hearts, especially Funkle over there on the West Coast, whose Los Angeles Sparks had a huge win over the Las Vegas Aces. But that's not what we're talking about. Oh, no. We're talking about Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. They did it all for the rookie. The rookie.
It's funny.
Yes. The rookie of the year. We are halfway. We're about to the All-Star game, halfway for some teams. And the rookie of the year voting is closer than some may have thought. It made some movement after the last couple of games. Angel Reese had a 27-point, 10 rebound game on her last game. That moves her to 12 consecutive double-doubles, extending her WNBA record. She has had a double-double in 13 of her team's 19 games so far, but not to be outdone, the star of the WNBA, as some would have you believe, and probably rightfully so, Caitlin Clark. You know what? Why am I talking? We have a huge Caitlin Clark and WNBA fan right here on the podcast that's ready to tell us all about it. Funkle, we'll move it over to Andy. Andy, why don't you enlighten us on what transpired today before the recording of the show?
Let's see. It is currently Saturday or Sunday now, but was Saturday earlier. Angel had that 27-point, 10 rebound game Friday night, and not to be outdone, the line shifted on Rookie of the Year after that one, and then Caitlin answered the bell, came out with 19 points, 12 rebounds. Go ahead. And was it 13 assists?
That's 3 double digits. What?
Yeah. First rookie WNBA rookie triple double. She had she flirted one with one earlier, missed a rebound a week or so ago, or would have had it then. Yeah, and then the line shifted again after that game. So after the game today, so um, yeah, with Angels doing some uh, amazing things, but she's a great rebounder, elite, but I can't remember the last time an elite rebounder won anything that was offensive or big time award of the year. I mean, that's just she puts up double digit points. Kudos to that. But I mean, she's a rebounder that shoots 39% from the floor underneath, so she's missing a lot of 3-foot shots. You really can't. You need to be shooting 50% underneath there. In my book, uh, Clark just makes her team better all the way around. You can't have those assists. I think currently right now she's third in the league in assists. Angel is first in the league for rebounds. That dropped a little bit today with her 10. I think that in watching the post game comments and whatnot, I think part of the issue that I have that makes me a Clark fan, um, over Angel Reese and what she's been able to do is just uh, being 50 years old and the way that she carries herself. That is what stands out to me. She spent her time in the after the conference after talking about she was just glad to get the win, and if she got those assists, it means that her teammates were able to get make shots off of her passes, and that it really was all about them. And that's old school. Call it what you will. I think that ingratiates itself to me, seeing somebody handle it that way. And you got that teammate of Angels after Friday night's game, Kennedy Carter, going up there during the press conference saying, "Yeah, Barbie's rookie of the year. There's no doubt about it." I mean, that just doesn't sit well with me, especially when, um, you know, again, I'll go back to the Walter Payton quote: "If you're good, you'll tell people. If you're great, they'll tell you." So by having to go ahead and keep putting that stuff out there, you're probably not it. So kudos to both of them for a big year, but Clark has my vote.
All right. And both teams had huge wins. Chicago is now 8-11. They beat a 13-6 at the time, now 13-7 Seattle Storm. And again, not to be outdone either individually or as a team, the Indiana Fever moved to 9-13, defeating the top-ranked team in the league, the New York Liberty, who fall to 17-4. So big wins for both of them. And I wanted to bring it over to Funkel. Funkel, we're going to make this kind of a more general question. We're going to stick with the rookie of the year voting, things like that. But in general, when rookie of the year, any sport, baseball, WNBA, regular NBA, NFL, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to ask you for rookie of the year, does it matter? Does team record matter? There's part one of this question. Okay. And two, with both of these young ladies, amazingly talented young ladies, setting records. Again, Caitlin Clark, the first ever rookie to have a triple-double in the WNBA. And Angel Reese, the WNBA ever, not just rookie, but ever to have the most consecutive double-doubles. So on that part of the question, does that make a difference one way or the other? A huge stat like a triple-double, first time ever, or making WNBA history? So first thing, rookie of the year for you, does team record matter at the end?
It's an individual category, so I wouldn't think it is. If you're going out there and getting your double double and doing as much as you can for the team stinks. The team stinks. There's nothing really can do about that. But if you're looking at category like an MVP, then that's a different story. And then I wouldn't consider something like that. I would say the team, if you're making the team better, and the team would have to be a winning team to be able to be under that category. But as far as these individual awards, I would say no. The team record shouldn't matter at all. You're you got to get yours right.
That's right. That's right.
So,
Uh, second part, Andy mentioned,
yes.
the rebounds. Obviously, great point. When is the last time a rebounder has won a major? It's a major award.
Getting
Um,
in coop.
but do you find either of those, the WNBA record for most consecutive double doubles, or the first ever, and she could have two, maybe even three by now, but the first ever triple double by a WNBA rookie?
Mm.
Do you see any of those swaying the betters? As Andy said, the uh, rookie of the year odds as of now are Caitlin Clark is minus 650. Angel Reese is plus 370. So it's still a wide margin. Caitlin Clark, halfway through the season, on track to be your rookie of the year, barring anything spectacular happening or terrible happening. But do you feel like those records should sway, or is one more important to you than another?
No, no. I think that Caitlin Clark will be winning this. I mean, it's the only reason that we're talking about this is what she's doing. So if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark and it was just Angel Reese coming into the league, no one would be batting two eyes about her having 12 consecutive double doubles. It, I mean, I mean, there was a record that she just beat, and Oh, sorry, nobody knew about that.
With that
So all these
button.
recorts they're
Oh,
beating.
oh, wait.
No, we got a 10-second delay.
You get one.
I didn't get all the way out. I want to earn mine. So, yeah, they're breaking records that nobody even knew about. They're looking it up right now, and that's only because she's having a problem with Caitlin Clark getting all the attention that she wishes she was getting, and I think that comes into other things and not necessarily about the things that are on the court.
All right. And Andy, go ahead. Last word on this topic, because I know you're chomping at the bit.
Uh, yeah, it's an individual award. It just is.
Yeah.
You can't go ahead and the first pick is always going to go to the worst team. So I mean, you can't really do that. I think I saw Monica McNutt off ESPN go ahead and say last night that, well, conveniently after Angel Reese had her 27-10 game, that she has to weigh that. She gets her vote because they're record's going to take it into account. So I'd like to hear what she has to say if Indiana finishes with a better record. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's no contest really here when you get down to it and you look at the impact on the team. Um, that the potential impact of that player. I mean, the point guard versus a power forward, or what would be, I guess, a forward. Um, they're just not, unless you're Asia Wilson, which
There's only
Angel
one.
is not. It's not even close. Shouldn't be.
All right. And Funkel, you brought it up, and we're going to move into our next topic. The next topic continues to focus around the WNBA, but more importantly, the impact. Funkel, you had touched on it with why we're talking about it, and want to talk about Caitlin Clark with the All-Star game coming up right now. I wanted to throw a number at you, and I wanted to get your thoughts on just how crazy this is. So last year, 23 WNBA All-Star voting. The leader of the All-Star voting was Asia Wilson, who had under 100,000 votes. I want to say it was 90,853, if I remember right.
Sure.
And this year, your leading vote getter, by no surprise, is Caitlin Clark. Okay, and I threw these numbers out at you when we were talking about the podcast, and I should have held it back to see if you guys could guess. Andy, you probably could because you probably already read the stories. But Caitlin Clark led all vote getters this year with 700,735 votes. So that's over 600,000 more votes for this year's leading vote getter versus last year's leading vote getter.
And who was second?
Ironically, one of her teammates, Mrs. Aaliyah Boston, with 618,000 votes. Aaliyah Boston, I have been a staunch defender of. If you look at our group chats and things like that, which we can't show you because obviously this YouTube would be not made for kids. Then we can't include you on that. But I've been a staunch defender of Aaliyah Boston since game one, who's had her ups and downs this year, but she has risen on many occasions. I think 3 or 4 games she's been the leading scorer for them. She's, as you like to see with young players, she was last year's Rookie of the Year, so she's in her second year. She has continued to grow, and more importantly, you see the chemistry between Clark and Boston. And our friend Josh Ort said Stockton to Malone. For those of you too young to know that phrase, look it up and just be impressed. Stockton to Malone, the pick and roll they made famous to the tune of some 40,000 points, 30,000 points. But just amazing. But they are building chemistry. And so, Andy, we'll start with you since Funkel led off the last one. The impact of over 600,000 more votes can't be understated, can it?
No, not at all. I mean, it's what you've been seeing since the beginning of the game. I've never, as I mentioned, I think in an earlier show, never once really watched a WNBA game, much less went to one. I've been to 3 this year. And it's all because of that Caitlin Clark effect. So it's not just me. Apparently there's a... What's that?
What was it that McAfee called that?
I'm not sure.
Patrick McAfee said, and he's like, it's all because of what?
I don't remember.
Oh no, okay. We can't say that.
Apologize.
Yep. He made a statement. He's
trying to get you to say something.
Caitlin Clark a certain phrase.
Oh yeah.
You won't be repeating that on this broadcast because
I'm medicated.
Yeah,
I do remember it now.
Fully medicated, babe.
Yeah.
We would like all watchers.
Yes.
But so yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
No, I forgot where I was leaving off. Where was I?
We were talking about the impact of 700,000 votes on the All-Star year.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just me that's decided to pay attention. There's a lot of people out there. I mean, you can't. I think the world, especially in sports, is, whether everybody wants to agree with it or not, is always looking for something positive. And sports can be one of those outlets. And I think, I mean, who doesn't like to see the ESPN 30 for 30s, about a kid meeting his idol and all that kind of stuff. And when you go and you watch the before and after the games, you see all these kids geared up in their Clark stuff on the road, at home, and she's signing before the game. She's signing on her way out as she's leaving the floor. I don't know that that's anything the league's telling her to do. I just think that's the way she is. It just, I don't know. You see some players get 100% dolled up with makeup and all this kind of stuff, which that's fine. But, it seems like you see a lot of them. I don't remember seeing Sue Bird or somebody come out with their hair and makeup done. She just went out bald. So, that'd be another one. Brittany Griner just goes out and does the job. But Yeah, there's just there's something about her, and I think a lot of it can be attributed to in some small way what Steph Curry did for the WNBA, where not the biggest guy on the court, but who doesn't love somebody raining down 35 footers? That's it, it just it's fun to watch.
There you go.
It's entertaining. That's what it's
It
all
is.
about.
Yep.
Are
Am
you
I
not?
not entertained?
Thank you, Russell.
um, when you look back on that, the Caitlin Clark effect that's been dubbed, and rightfully so. Andy, you mentioned a throwback. She seems to be that throwback, where it's just, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do my job, I'm going to say the right things, and it seems like she means them because she's been this player. If you look at college, uh, she's just, I'm just happy to be there. I'm just here so I won't get fined. No, she's happy to be there. She's excited. She loves the game. Getting left off the Olympic team, no issues, no static, if you will, no pushback or anything like that. She loves basketball, and if you go on YouTube and you search for a clip from her Iowa days, you see her dad telling her to calm down or telling her to stop
Stop it.
when she was, told her to stop it when she was jawing back at a ref.
Yep.
And you looked at those influences in her life, and what she brought Iowa, the brink of the titles, what she's done with. I've been guilty of saying it. The Fever were a tier 2 team, and they still are. But you know, when will they have that signature win? You beat the best team in the league. That's pretty signature. Uh, and Funkel, again, we know you don't pay a ton out there on the West Coast. You've got to read, hammocks to lay in, and beaches to walk. But when you
True.
hear that the leading vote getter is over 600% more votes than last year, what does that mean? What does that mean to you in any sport? If you heard that in any sport, what's that connection that you would make to that stat?
That's something like a phenomenon, I think is what they would say. And you've had that in different sports as a rookie comes in and they just or call him a game changer. So I think that's what's happening here. And there was a time when the NBA was having some financial troubles as well, and they drafted in somebody called Bird and Magic that came in and saved the NBA. This
Great call.
Angel and Caitlin might be saving the WNBA because they were on a brink of bankruptcy. They weren't making any kind of money, and now, like Rude is so happy to say, they're outperforming the crowds of the NBA. So
Yeah,
that's a phenomenon, and that is something, and we all know this. I mean, we like to think of it as sports and trying to win and everything, but bottom line is this is a business, and if you're putting butts in the seats, then that business is growing, and it's going to maintain, and they're going to push whatever that is doing to get those butts in the seat and entertain them.
Agreed.
that's twice. I want some butts. Uh, the we talked about crowds, we talked about butts and seats. The Las Vegas Aces, I believe, had over 20,000 attend a game recently. 20,000 fans attending a WNBA game.
What game
Uh,
was that?
um, was it where a team called the Indiana Fever were in town?
Yes.
Huh.
Seems like
Uh,
Indiana is really supporting their losing team.
they
Yep.
travel well. They
Yep.
travel
They
well.
do.
The Indiana Fever, again, I believe on the uh, eighth seed for the playoffs. So right now, in playoff mode, but great things all around. Another start to the podcast of WNBA, and we're going to go ahead and and leave it there, as Funkel regretfully has to change topics. But don't worry,
I crawled out of my hammock for this.
we are going to turn it up. I wanted to touch base one last thing with that. Funkel, you mentioned the momentum of similar to a Magic and Bird being drafted. If you remember, During that time, the NBA Finals were on tape delay before
Yeah.
Magic and Bird came in. That's how much of dire straits the NBA was in. But obviously, it's a huge thing. You've got, and maybe it's the fact that some fans are getting tired. You got guys like Orlando Magic, Franz Wagner, just signing for 5 years, $215 million, I believe. You got these max contracts that are going to guys that, I mean, they're good, obviously, but yikes! Some of the money being spent.
Hey, your boy Bronny today in summer league. 2 of 9, 4 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. So
We talking about practice?
We're talking about practice.
We talking about practice?
This is
no,
summer league.
he's getting his career numbers.
Not a
He's
game.
just there to put butts in seats.
Yeah,
That's right.
Don't worry.
Daddy made that max contract too.
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up. It's not a topic, but we'll close the basketball with this. Did anybody see Bronny was drafted round 2, pick 25. Last year's round 2, pick 25 got a $550,000 two-way contract, non-guaranteed. Yep. Bronny James picked in the same spot, got a 4-year, $7.4 million guaranteed contract.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Talent.
That's pretty good. Good agent.
God. Go back to selling T-shirts out of the back of your car. Get out of here.
All right, moving right along to something Funkle is looking forward to. We are talking movies. We're talking about movies, man. All right. So this topic is the double take. We have a chance for back-to-back billion-dollar movies. That's right, billion-dollar movies. As you guys know from listening to the podcast, huge Disney fan, and I've been keeping tabs on Inside Out 2 in the week since our last podcast. Inside Out 2 passed $1 billion to bring Disney back to the forefront. $1.131 billion at the time of this podcast. Huge numbers. Disney back on top at the right time, because July 20th. Anybody know what Disney movie is coming out July 20th?
No. Why don't you tell us?
Deadpool and Wolverine is coming out.
Disney?
Marvel. Disney owns Marvel.
Okay. Yep. That's right. Yeah.
Yep. So huge anticipation for this movie. First off, let's start with that. Funkle, are you looking forward to Deadpool and Wolverine?
Yeah, I absolutely am. That's been going. They've been teasing that for a long time with their rivalry through social media, and so there's quite the buildup. And I think that'll be another $1 billion R movie.
At which, how many are there? I believe. Is there
Joker? I know that.
Is there 2? That one I don't know. No, the Joker.
Yeah. And Top Gun Maverick was PG-13, right?
Correct.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. While you guys debate or discuss, maybe I'll look it up. It's what I do. Andy, Deadpool and Wolverine. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I think it's a smart move having the only Marvel release this year. Hit the brakes a little bit on it. Yeah. This could serve as kind of a reset. As Jake said, social media between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds over the years has just kind of been these two characters almost going back and forth at each other, but as themselves on Twitter and all this kind of stuff. So it should be a fun watch. I'm glad they're getting to do the R-rated version. That's really declawing Deadpool if you have to go ahead and dial it back.
Oof. Yeah.
But yeah, it really opened things up with this whole some people are sick of it, but the whole multiverse concept really went ahead and opened up doors that really hadn't been opened before. Some really great jokes in the trailer. I think one of the standout ones is the Ant-Man helmet opening up and a skull being in there, and he says, "Looks like Paul Rudd finally aged." I mean, just stuff you can get away with in that because of the fourth wall breaking. But It looks like the summer needs movies like this, and it's
Yeah.
been a while since there's been one that. It's been a while since there's been a Marvel movie that people have really been clamoring for.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
totally agree, and I think that there's some rumor about Taylor Swift might be in this. You hear about that?
I did hear about it.
I did not.
Yeah, everybody, including her, is denying it, but nobody's going to come out just like they denied Brad Pitt in the last Deadpool movie.
And we know what happened there.
Yep.
He was in it as quick as cameo as it could be.
Well, if she's in it and word gets out, let's just go ahead and chalk it up to 1 billion. But barring
It'll be a billion.
Taylor
Yeah.
Swift, Funkle, chances Deadpool and Wolverine hits 1 billion.
Oh yeah, there's. I mean, if I had a ton of money, I would put it all on it making $1 billion for sure. Yeah.
All right, Andy, chances Deadpool and Wolverine over $1 billion.
With what's in the box office right now, it's one of those that just doesn't have a lot of competition as summers used to be. Real tight and competitive for money. It has all the makings of being able to pull it off.
All right, we've got a guarantee from the West Coast and
That's
a
right.
very solid should from the Midwest.
What do you think?
I think it does. I think, like you two mentioned, I'm gonna go 95%. Like you two mentioned, people have been clamoring for it.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds just, everything he does lately with commercials, whether it's Mint Mobile, whether it's what is it, Aviation Gen? Is that him?
Sure.
It's
Yep.
he's just
He's
everywhere and
close to a
people love it.
billionaire himself, no?
Yeah,
He's quite a savvy business guy.
yeah. He's one of my favorites is, when they're talking, Colossus drags him back. This was Deadpool 2, I believe. We're going to the mansion and we're going to see Professor Xavier, McAvoy or Stewart.
Yep.
That's a great line. That's a clever line. I love it.
Yes, just
Yeah.
it's fun. Side note of trivia: Joker is the only R-rated movie
Oh,
to
we were
hit
right.
1 billion. There was a movie that fell just 23 million, 230 million short, not 23. Nope, 23. Wow, numbers are hard at this time. $23 million short. Anybody know what it was? It came out in 2023 at 976 million.
No,
That would
R-rated?
be R-rated
Mm-mm.
And was
Came
last
out
year.
last year.
last year.
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer, $976 million.
Oh,
So
it'll reach 1 billion with a re-release in 70 millimeter in select theaters.
look at that guy with the inside information. There's numbers. Does Indiana have select theaters? Are we cool
No.
enough to have?
No, sorry.
Oh, that's all you needed to say. Enough said.
You got the fever. I know you guys love it.
Yep.
Can we see them in 70 millimeter? Yes.
Yes.
All right. Moving right along, we'll come back to movies for our surprise question.
Oh,
But
good.
we're going to get back to sports, a topic that was brought up by Funkle, probably because he didn't want to talk WNBA. But more,
Why, Ike? Whatever do you mean?
let's have a spelling contest. The more All-Star, but we're moving over to MLB, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game is Sunday, July 7th. So it is coming up. Pitchers will be announced Sunday as well, starting pitchers. And that's where this topic comes in. We have had a pitcher for a small market team come in and just capture the attention of baseball fans all over. Funkle, why don't you take it away since you brought up the topic? The topic will rookie pitcher start the All-Star game we'll get into, but who is this rookie pitcher? Who are the
Who are these monkeys? So we're talking about Paul Skeens, who is this behemoth of a pitcher that was drafted by the Pirates, and he's just gone straight through the minor league system after winning the College World Series with LSU last year, and so some people were thinking that he was going to make the team right out of spring training, but they got some seasoning down in the minor leagues, and he came up, and it's been 10 starts that he's been with the Pirates, and I think this is the first time anybody has had in their first 10 starts 9 games in which they threw 7 or more strikeouts in the 9 of 10 starts to start their career, which is insane to do something like that. And so they're clamoring about him actually starting for the All-Star game. And Rude, you when I bring up his name and you're like, who is that guy? And we mentioned the girl that he's dating, and she is a TikTok star, social media star who has her own following, Olivia Dunn. If I'm saying that correctly, I think she goes by something else as well.
Livy.
Like Ali or something. Livy?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So she has her own following. So he has a built-in like audience coming into his professional debut, and he has delivered. He is right out of the gate going right to number one ace, and not just with the Pirates, but with the National League. So it would be great to be able to see something like that. Get a younger audience in there based on his social media. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I love when so he pitched recently and the Pirates were in their throwbacks.
Oh
And
yeah.
he just dude, he looked like a throwback player. Paul Steen's also with the stash. If you haven't seen him, just go look him
Right.
up. Skenes. The dude just a killer stash. He looks like he should have been playing for the Pirates in the 80s. But yeah, he's got a
I think they
very,
give those
very
stashes out when he pitches. I think they give out like fake mustaches when he pitches. That'd be awesome publicity to do something like that.
Yeah.
he's awesome. At the end of his last start, he said it when he had another amazing performance. He said it wasn't me. I think the fans wanted the free Pittsburgh Pirate Hawaiian shirt that was being given away to the fans that came in. So again, a guy that just seems to have some good personality, seems to have some fun. A member of the Air Force Academy before transferring to LSU for his one season, where, as Funkel mentioned, led the LSU Tigers to a national title. Andy, as Funkel alluded to, you weren't familiar with the name. You knew there was a rookie out there. You've been a big proponent of Major League Baseball needing to do something to get back a lot of the fans that are moving to other sports. Major League Baseball has always, during our lifetimes, and we've talked about the importance of baseball for us. It's all about the sport of baseball instead of the individuals. There's only so many.
Yeah.
There's only so many Babe Ruths or Mickey Mantles or Ted Williams, Willie Mays. There's only so many Ken Griffey Juniors, and you know recently Mike Trout was going to be that guy, but injuries have kind of derailed that. But even when Trout was just heads and tails above, you didn't see a lot of marketing, a lot of focus on the individual. And it seems as though baseball sometimes is slow to react. When McGuire and Sosa had the chase, baseball needed something, and it took something like that to bring them back to the forefront. But Andy, like I said, you've been a proponent of baseball needing to do something to bring in the fans. Do you see the opportunity to start a rookie pitcher who's dominating the league and who also is in a relationship with a young lady that has a huge following? Do you see that as an opportunity, and would you take it?
Well, yeah, I think they have to cash in on anything they can. That's why it's a double-edged sword, right? The, for the NFL, the Travis Kelsey, Taylor Swift relationship, everything is roses until they lose. Kansas City loses a third of their fans when they break up, which, I mean, that's the other side of that. I don't think Livy Dunn has quite the following Taylor Swift does, but yeah, I mean, it gets eyes on the sport. Unfortunately, I think baseball, with some of the changes they've made and speeding up the game and whatnot. It just speaks to, we talk a lot about TikTok and we talk a lot about Instagram and Reels and things like that. The attention span for young people, in my feeling, is just a lot shorter
Yeah.
than it used to be. People are consuming media in 1 minute increments, and baseball is just not that game. Um, it can move a lot slower, and so with the pitch clock and whatnot, that helps speed it up. But that's just reality of today. It's everybody wants everything right now.
That's surprising because it
And
already like breaks up the game with innings. I mean, it's incremental all the way through. I mean, you have 3 outs each side of the inning, and the inning is broken up into 2 parts. I mean, so there's it's incremental all over the place. So a person with ADD should be perfect for watching baseball.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've all seen those 5 hour games,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
that's true.
which we didn't mind because we're baseball fans. But
Right, it's
you
true.
know, to somebody who's like, I'm going to try with this sport, their first introduction is a 5 or 6 out one to one game, going
Yeah.
13 innings is probably, uh, you know,
I think what's going to really help with the interest is mic'd up. I think the mic'd up has been such a huge thing, and then it can help with the social media aspect where people are clipping. Like, can you believe that this person said this when they were talking and they were fielding? Like I brought up with Juan Soto was catching a fly ball while the announcers were in his ear. There was another, I think Kiki Hernandez was talking to the announcers and he had a grounder and he made an error because he was talking to them and then he bobbled it and then the next time they were like they were too afraid to say anything to him because they didn't want to like jinx another grounder to him. And sure enough, I think he had another grounder and it was all quiet. And they were like, we didn't want to interrupt anything. He was like, yeah, that was my bad. I should have been concentrating. So I think that that aspect of it when you're involved like that is a huge deal, and that will get more attention and have people listening and paying attention a little bit more when they can actually say what they're thinking as they're playing the game. So there's so many people that are paying attention to Twitch streamers and watching video gamers. Now, if you can actually watch a real person playing a real sport and tell you exactly what they're thinking while they're doing it, I mean, that's going to draw even more attention, in my opinion.
and I would love for baseball to gain back a lot of the fans that have left recently. And you guys were great on some of the reasons. Wanted to throw, as we talked, Paul Skeens, some of the crazy stats. Let's see, this was, oh, it's about a month old, but here's some of the stats as far as his entry into the league. Uh, as of June 12th, so you're talking, what, a little over a month ago, Paul Skeens has thrown 60 major league pitches at 100 miles an hour. The next closest is Jose Soriano with 33.
Hmm.
Most strikeouts through their first 6 games. Paul Skeens is 7th. Anybody number 1? Chicago Cub.
Kerry Wood.
There it is. There it is. Kerry Wood. Um, Paul Skeens is one of 4 Pirates starters to not lose a game 6 or more starts into their major league careers. This stat, even though it was a month old, is still true. Paul Skeens' last loss at any level was May 25th, 2023 at the University of Arkansas.
Wow.
Because Paul Skeens is this year is 5-0. He's got an ERA of 2.12 with 78 strikeouts and a whip of 1.01. That's right,
Whoa.
a whip of 1.01. I just
That's
think
a great start to a career, man.
it is. It is. I worry about 60 pitches over 100 miles. Who knows where he's at now? But you know what that's going to do to the arm. But hey, you're the
Yeah.
Pirates. You aren't doing anything anyways. Ride it till it's gone.
And that NL Central is up in the air right now. I mean, the Brewers are doing all right, but they have a new coach. I mean, Craig Counsell is now at Chicago. The Cardinals had, I think they were at one point like 10 games under 500, and now they're
Which is
second running.
crazy.
They turn things around, and they've been devastated with pitching injuries. But now Pittsburgh has another guy on their team, Jock. What What is his name? Something Jones, another pitcher that is a stud as well, and he's pitching very well. So they have some names on there. So if they just have a couple balls falling in the right place, they could be right back in the wild card contention, especially if you have a couple of aces at the top of a rotation.
Oh yeah, pitching will do so much for you. But again, that's what makes baseball unique. You know, you can have an amazing ace and still not make the playoffs because 2, 3, 4, and 5 are average or below average.
Yeah, what was that crazy year that Tom Seaver had with the Mets where he won like I think it was a 27 game winner and they won 50 games maybe 57 58 games, something to that effect, and I think he won the Cy Young for that. But taking over and just being dominant in your starts can have a huge effect on the team in general.
You can. You look at, you know, for the longest time, baseball was the sport, you know, and you had, like you
Yeah,
said, Seaver winning the Cy Young on a very poor team. You had Andre Dawson winning the MVP on a, we'll call him
lovable
subpar,
losers.
the lovable losers.
Yeah.
Uh, it looks good. It looks good. I know I'll be watching the All-Star game. Gentlemen, will you be watching the Major League Baseball All-Star game?
Rude, we'll start with you.
I'll probably tune in a little bit. I don't know that I'll watch the whole thing.
Yeah. Have you guys ever watched the Futures game?
Yes.
Never
Yeah,
have.
the day before. Never have.
Yes. It's it's
Uh,
it's
it's
fun.
great. Yeah, you get to see these studs and some of the people that are potentially coming up real soon. Got to see like some Ellie De La Cruz. I think the Futures game is when I first heard about and talked about Billy Hamilton back when he was like tagging up from a pop up from third
Yeah.
and scoring. Little like the things you would hear like from the past, like Cool Papa Bell. He was so fast that he had a line drive up the middle and hit himself in the head sliding into second. That kind of thing. We get to see those things with the futures game. So I love tuning into that. The baseball, the All-Star game also hosts the Home Run Derby, which I think is the probably the most exciting exhibition all-star of any of the sports, in my
Oh,
opinion.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Rudy, would you concur?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I think they
it's
changed the
still
rules around this year, but it's always great to tune in for that. And now the technology is even better, so they can track all the balls and how far you go. And I think they changed the rules again this year, where the tiebreaker is whoever hit the ball, the furthest ball. I think is what they're doing.
I still remember Josh Hamilton. I can't tell you who won. I know he finished second because when he
Second.
sent out, yeah,
Yeah, I
That's
think that's
true.
why they changed the rules because he had 28, I think, in one round and
yeah,
gassed himself. And I think they changed the rules the next year after that.
yeah, I remember that one and just watching him and going, gosh,
Incredible.
another Josh Hamilton topic for another day. Billy Hamilton, if you could only draw a walk or not swing it so
Learned to
many
bunt,
times.
man. That dude would still be in the league. If Brett Butler took over and showed him how to do some bunting, they used to do that with the All-Star game. They had a bunting competition and they would
Man,
do it in a point system right around there. And if I remember correctly, Tony Gwynn was an ace bunter. So I think
why
he did
wouldn't
well.
he
And Brett
do everything
Butler,
else?
he did everything. He knew how to make contact with the ball. And I think that is a, a skill that if they dusted that off, these speedsters, man, it and the way that they're playing and their with their defensive setups, there's so many people could be bunting 20 times a year, and that would just open up the defense all the rest of the at bats that they have. Just having that idea in the head of the defense, man, and I think it would increase their batting average. It would increase their on base percentage because you force the defense to make a play, and as we see, if you just do that 30% of the time, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yep. Yep. And we talked about the struggles of baseball and things like that. And I'm sure we'll talk about it more when we look at, topics coming up as the World Series comes, playoffs come, things like that. Uh, yeah, I remember one of my favorite activities was the old timers game. If you look look on YouTube and just look at some of the old timers games and seeing some of the names that were in these old timers games, holy cow!
Yeah.
But yeah, Major League Baseball All-Star Home Run Derby. There's nothing when it comes to exhibition activities that meets it.
And whoa, it was Mickey.
Oh, Mickey.
I turned around and stopped him. All right.
There's so many
Now-
Seinfeld references that we do on this. It's great.
Yeah.
They just had the assistant to the traveling secretary bobblehead night for George Costanza
Oh,
No.
at
dude,
Yankee Stadium. Yeah.
I got to go on eBay. I need one of those.
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Gosh. Remember when he's who were the two was Tartable one of them? Who was
Tartable was
Yeah.
he was flipping somebody was flipping him off, he thought. And they were just driving and he was doing some charitable work. But they
He followed him to like New Jersey or something.
Oh Lord. All right.
And then the promising of the home run, right?
Yes.
Where what was it, Paul O'Neill?
Yes.
Yep.
Are you crazy?
And who promises 2 home runs? I mean, Babe Ruth could only do 1. And I'm not even a home run hitter. How'd you get in here? Oh, it's so good. So good.
Now we are at our question. That's right. I promised
Okay.
you. This is our hidden question that these two didn't know about. It is the silver screen bling. What actors?
Oh, okay.
And I am looking for any actors in the top 10. What actors have made the most billion-dollar movies? Funkle, you are our resident
I go
movie
first, Rick?
expert. You get first pick in the draft. I'm looking for the top 10.
I'm going Sam Jackson.
Sam Jackson?
Samuel L. Jackson.
Number one. Number one
Uno, baby.
with 10 billion dollar movies. Thank you, Marvel. Thank you, Disney. Yes. Avengers, Endgame, Infinity War, The Avengers, Avengers Age of Ultron, Incredibles 2. That's right.
Yep. Yeah,
Frozone.
that's right.
Spider-Man.
Nice to see you.
You tell me what my suit is.
Yeah. Where is my super suit?
We are talking about the greater good. Captain Marvel, Star Wars Episode 9,
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, and Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, credited as Mace Windu, voice. But hey, it still counts.
It
All right.
counts.
Andy, number 1 is off the board. Looking for any in the top 10.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarjo, number 7. Number
Wow.
7 with 6 movies. 6 movies.
Marvel.
Yes.
Mhm.
Ironically, all Marvel.
Yeah.
Funkle, what do you got?
I'll probably stay with the Marvels. I'll go Chris Evans.
Chris Evans, number 6, tied with Starjo. So
Eh.
tie 6 movies.
That makes sense. It's kind of a cheat, no?
Hey,
Sorry.
Andy, back to you.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford. Ooh.
Oh, no way. Really?
Ooh. Hold on. I'm still scrolling. This could take a while.
Well, if he's not in the top 10, that's
Yep,
a no.
it doesn't matter. That would be, let me double check.
Yeah.
No, you're wrong. Funkle, back to you.
Okay. I'd like to go with TC, little Tom Cruise action.
Tom Cruise, billion-dollar
In the top 10?
movies.
Hmm?
Ladies and gentlemen,
No?
no.
Oh,
Not in the
biggest
top
star in the
10.
world.
Wow.
Damn.
So are these adjusted? for like inflation, or are these just like raw $1 billion?
Just like raw $1 billion. According to IMDb, it is actors and actresses with 1 billion worldwide box office movies.
And how many did ScarJo and
6.
And Chris Evans, they had 6.
Zoe Saldana?
No, not in the top 10.
Oh.
Not
The 2 Avatars, Endgame, Infinity War.
That's 4.
What's the last number of number 10? How many?
5.
But I will give you a hint. You guys are there on Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right.
well, shit.
So Anthony Mackie,
Anthony Mackie,
is that fool in there?
that fool.
I know he was in 8 Mile. Clarence. His real name is
No,
Clarence.
Mackie is not in the top 10 on the list, but not in the top 10.
Nah, damn it.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
There we go.
Robert,
There it is. There it is.
RDJ. Now keep in mind there are let's see. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with 6 movies. RDJ is in there.
How many's he got?
He's got 6.
He's got 6 as well.
So is 6 considered like one spot, or are they doing 4, 5, 6, 7?
They're doing 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, okay.
So there's really like 6 people in the top 10.
Pretty much.
All right. I'm gonna give my last guess, and then I think we should just go down the list. This is a Family Feud situation.
Go out on one more.
I'll throw out Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. No.
Not on there.
All right. So number 1, Samuel L. Jackson. Number 2.
I picked first. Rude, if you want another guess. I picked first.
You want to finish?
I have too many buzzers. Too many X's. 3 X's for me.
Got nothing. Go.
All right. Number 2 after Samuel L. Jackson, Andy Serkis with $7 billion movies.
Well, yeah, big time Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and
damn,
and Avengers. He touched them all. Number 3, Avengers? Ulysses Claw.
Oh, yep.
Black Panther,
Right.
and then
he was in Black Panther too. That was $1 billion, wasn't it?
Yep. So Serkis was Star Wars Episode 7, Avengers, Black Panther, Star Wars Episode 8, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Episode 9, and The Hobbit. Number 3 was one of the other ones.
Hobbit made $1 billion.
The Hobbit.
Hobbit. Jeez.
Wow. Well, we know how you feel. Don Cheadle was one of the ones.
I should have had that.
The Marvel effect.
Yes.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
The other one with 6 movies was Ward Davis.
Oh, wow. Willow?
Star Wars Episode 7, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, Star Wars Episode 8 and 9, Road 1, and Star Wars Episode 1 for Ward. Number 8, Anthony Daniels.
I
was wondering if you were going to get that one, Andy.
That's
nice guy, Anthony Daniels.
Right?
You met him. Yep.
Yeah, I did.
And then the ones closing out with 5 movies, a lot of Marvel effect here. Mark Ruffalo, Paul Bettany, Kobe Smulders, and Tom Holland.
Paul Bettany, I mean, he did better off the field than in the movies. Jennifer Connelly?
Solid.
Yeah. You hear their love story?
Talk about it. Hey, we got some time. Go.
Well, I mean, it was pretty much like he was a fanboy, and he pretty much proposed, if I'm hearing it correctly, like right off the bat, that they were working together, and said that, well, who was your first crush? And he was like, this one right here. And then they went on a date, and dude proposed right off the bat. That's what I heard. I don't know the truth of that, but
well, that's what I heard.
Don't let him get away.
That's what I heard.
That's right. Make your move. Make your move.
But still, he's
Um,
married to Jennifer Connelly. Good on him.
Shoot your shot.
However, he did it. He took
Yep.
the shot. That's right.
One of my favorites with 4 movies, just to put it out there because I like John Ratzenberger, $4 billion
Oh man,
ballers.
Cliff Clavin.
Cliff Clavin, yes,
He does a
Yeah.
voice in every Pixar movie.
yes, and that
Every one of them.
Where it came in. Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, Toy Story 3, and Finding Dory.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, so that was our surprise question of the week,
Very
and
good,
now
sir.
it's time to think some more. For those of you that watched the show last week or listened to it, we had a question about who you would want to play you in a movie of your life. And we tried to take this one the other way. So last week we had an actor play us in our life as a movie, but now you get to be any character in any movie.
Reversed it.
It's like a hat.
Exactly. Rude knew what I was talking about.
You got to coordinate.
You got to coordinate. That's right. You know your dad had a mushroom belt. Yes, I
Yes.
know. Did you ever see Boomerang, Trav? Do you know that one?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Beth liked it. So we watched it. This was early on in our relationship.
Yeah.
But it was fun. But I think we watched that and we found out that we both liked Harlem Nights as well after that because we were,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Harlem Nights. Woo.
So good.
So Funkle, again,
Yeah.
your question because you're the provider of the questions. Pick who you would like to answer first.
I would like you to go first. You never get to. You're always a gracious host and allow us to pick. So I would love to hear from you first, sir.
This one was extremely tough for me, and it came down. Can I pull a Funkle? It came down to 3. I got 3.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've got Billy Bob Thornton when he played Davy Crockett in The Alamo. The movie didn't do too well, but he played Davy Crockett, and I brought up Davy Crockett as a character earlier in the podcast. That was one that went through my mind. But these two were really it took me up until we were talking about the show and getting ready to hit record that I moved out Elvis. Austin Butler is Elvis. I mean, you could take a couple different ones, but Elvis I would have thought, but because I'm on this kick, I'm gonna go Walt Disney from Saving Mr. Banks, Tom Hanks, because I love Tom Hanks, but he played Walt Disney, and just that whole story of how Walt made a promise to his daughters that he would get the rights from P.L. Travers to make a Mary Poppins movie. I have a daughter. I've got 2 boys. I have my daughter, but that whole thing behind it just drew me to that movie that I've watched many, many times before. And if you get a chance, watch it. It's a great movie. But more importantly, if you get a chance after that to see how literal it was taken, P.L. Travers recording the meetings with the Sherman brothers, with Walt, while the movie was being made, to hear how controlling she was about her Mary Poppins. There are still the audio recordings of the tape. She would bring a tape recorder to every meeting, and she would record everything that they were doing, page by page, line by line. She would record and make changes. And
word for word. Wants me to read it word for word.
So I'm going Walt Disney would be the character I would play from Saving Mr. Banks.
Great. Good job.
Thank you. What
about you, fool?
Oh, this is easy for me. Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I knew it.
There's I don't know of a character that I can relate to more from a standpoint of getting in over his head on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And there's a line in the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade that sums it up perfectly when Sean Connery asks him, "What are we going to do?" And he says, "I don't know. I'm making this up as I go."
That's awesome.
I mean, it just that line right there is pretty much synonymous with the character, and that's really relatable. Not bulletproof. Gets
Yeah.
gets the crap kicked out of him often,
With the
and
best sound effects.
oh yeah, yeah. The best punching.
What a punch. What
It's
a punch
it's
he
the best
delivers.
sound. The best punch sound in the history of film.
Yes.
Yeah. If that was you, I'm really fearful for our future. I love that you're getting your butt kicked all over the place, but I fear that the Nazis would have won if you were Indiana Jones over here.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they know
Nobody's face
they
gets
named the
melted
dog
off.
Indiana.
Yeah, yeah.
Junior? Junior.
There's another line in the Crusades ones that I thought you were gonna go with was he's like, they were trying to shoot us. They were trying to kill us. He's like,
I
yeah,
know, Dad.
I know, Dad. He's like, this is a first experience for me. Happens to me all the
Me all
time.
the time. Yep.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, but just that like universal father-son relationship in and he's still trying to save the world and he's just dragging him along. I mean, it's such a brilliant movie. I think
It
I
is.
like that more than any other of the Indiana Jones, just from that dynamic between the two of them.
Come on, Dad.
With
We're
his,
not taking the boat.
So good.
with his dad with the birds.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah,
Uh,
so good.
pen. Pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah. That's a great call. Indiana
Andy,
Jones is so cool.
I was I finally decided Indiana Jones. Han Solo was close, but then just
Yeah.
remember you having the whip. Whip him. I remember you
Whip
having the whip
him.
growing up.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, the one we're
Okay.
all looking forward to, folks. First of all, Andy, real quick before we get to
Yeah.
Funkel's answer, Andy, how many answers does Funkel have for this question?
3.
3. All right, Funkel, let's find out.
That I mean, that's a norm. So that's usually correct. But only 2 today. Only 2.
Oh,
And this is gonna be anticlimactic because I knew that you guys were going somewhat big, and mine is a little more mundane and practical. Just because I don't want to be Indiana Jones. I don't want to fight for my life all the time. I don't want that in my life. So I want something a little more casual. I'm a hammock guy, all right? So I don't I want everything to be cool in my life. So, but I also want to be really cool and I want to be respected. All right. So I was thinking Cliff Booth.
I knew it. I knew it.
I knew it.
Yep.
The coolest man in cinema. I didn't want to be Doc Holliday because he dies at the end and he
Ah,
has longer.
I was
Because
going to bring that up.
that dude is my favorite film character of all time. Val Kilmer, not Dennis Quaid. Don't
Yeah.
even bring that up. But yeah, and if Cliff Booth took it, then all bets were off. But he comes out a hero. Nobody's gonna remember that he killed his wife. He's gonna have a job down the line. He's gonna be like a Hollywood hero. And people wouldn't know who Charles Manson is because he took care of all these people. So that would have been great to be that person. But also, here's one. I don't know if you guys have even seen the movie yet, but it's something that our boy Ort told me about years ago, and it's called About a Time. About Time. All right. Have you guys watched that? Rude
I
Youth?
have. Yep.
Okay. So Domhnall Gleeson, who is
Yeah.
Brandon Gleeson's son, I want to be his character.
Oh,
And so Trav, I'll give you
Yeah.
a reason why. His dad, Bill Nye, not the science guy, but Bill Nye, the
this movie
rock
is
and
nothing like you would ever think.
no, because
Okay.
it sounds like science fiction, but it's as just a regular drama as you can get. You don't see any kind of like DeLorean or anything, but he does do time travel. And his father tells him of when he turns, I think it was 18 or 21, when he becomes a man. he tells him that for some reason the men in this family have been able to time travel, and it's not just like in the whole universe; it's as pertain to your life. So I can go back. Like one of the first things that he does is he Margot Robbie is a girl that is in his house for the summer, and he's out in the lawn, and she comes up and asks for some suntan lotion. And so, of course, he messes that up. And then he's like, oh my gosh. And then he just like darts into the house to be able to do some time traveling and come back. And then he's like, Mr. Cool, and he squirts out just the right amount. He's like, hold on, I'm reading this book. And so he takes his time. So any mistakes that you make, you're able to correct them. And so that's why I would want to do something like this. You can live the life that you want to. His dad kind of explains the rules to him. And the first question off is like money. And he's like, that's a good question. Money, if you're motivated by money and try to do that, it ruins your life. So don't even sweat that. But the appeal is to be able to this guy just wields like the perfect life for himself and doing some of these things. His dad tells him like a magic formula to be able to do something like that. The guy eventually marries Rachel McAdams, has kids with her, had a chance at Margot Robbie, becomes a lawyer, makes a decent living, has a good family, and lives like the best life that you could engineer with the opportunity to be able to time travel. And he doesn't even really do it that much by the end of it. So he's just living his normal life. And I thought that that was such an endearing thing of just living your life as if you've already done it for a day and you appreciate the small things. And that's why I would like to do that.
Solid call.
Yeah.
Yeah, good flick.
About time.
Yeah. I think that's something that you would appreciate and you would like. So you should definitely watch About Time.
About time on
Hmm.
the playlist. You made a reference, and I'm going to throw this out on the
Okay.
recording as a topic for next week.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, but I want to throw it out. Characters that have been played multiple times in movies. Um, you brought up Val Kilmer. And Dennis Quaid as Wyatt Earp.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I would like to talk about uh, different representations of characters in movies.
Oh,
You were quick, Funkel. You were quick to point out not Dennis Quaid.
yep.
And we'll get into why, because I really want to know that story. We'll get into that next week.
Okay.
Really excited to hear how quick that was. Obviously, Val Kilmer, legendary. But
Yeah.
yeah, want to hear that. Let's go ahead and move on to another recurring topic as we just got done with our thought-provoking question. This one, really, I enjoy this one.
Of course.
It's
Yes.
the Your Playlist Sucks, You Can Borrow Ours.
That's right. We spare no expense here at the Rudimentary podcast. So we're on the Your
Megaphone
Playlist,
Mickey over here.
Mickey. Your playlist,
Exactly.
you can borrow ours. Last week we added our first songs to the playlist, and they are now on Spotify and Apple Music. That's literally the name of the playlist. Go
Yeah.
download it. We will be adding to it every week as the podcast continues to go on. We made our first add-ons last week, and we're here for round two. Funkel, your idea? You first? Question mark. I'm Ron Burgundy.
Rude. You first.
There it is.
You haven't been first too long. Go.
All right.
for it.
I'm gonna go with a it's a song by the Rolling Stones,
There we go.
but a very specific version of this song.
Mm.
1989, Steel Wheels tour. First concert I ever saw in Indianapolis at the then Hoosier Dome,
Oh, wow.
and I had heard Satisfaction and a few other songs, but I wasn't the Stones fan I am today. It just, at 16 years old, oh yeah, I'll go see this, um, with some buddies of mine, and it was about midway through the set list, and looking back on it, it's so minuscule, but for me, it just embodied that experience and what the Rolling Stones are to me. Now, Keith Richards for years has played his guitar with 5 strings, tuned to what's called an open G tuning, and it's just something that he picked up, I believed, from I'm not sure if it was Ry Cooder or
It's
not.
not Brian Adams. I know that.
Um,
He got that 6-string.
yeah, he does.
Bought it at the 5 and Dime.
And there is a live album that came out within the last few years of that tour, Steel Wheels Live, and it was the version of Honky Tonk Women.
Oh, nice.
And the first 40 seconds of that is just starts off with the drums and just this open G chord that just repeats, boom, 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 and it just, in a stadium atmosphere, those 2 fat strings getting hit, and you can almost feel it in your chest.
Mm.
And that right there was what set me off to be the Stones fan that I am today, is that song in that set. So,
Wow.
yep, that's what I'm gonna go with, Honky Tonk Women from Steel Wheels tour in '89, and I'll have that up on Spotify
That's pretty cool.
and Apple
Origin
Music.
story. We found
Mm.
out how he became a fan from this one. That's awesome.
Yep.
I love that. And so that was at the Indianapolis show that you heard that. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Wow.
So
Trav,
you
you're
tried
up. Huh?
Stones Fever in Indiana?
Oh boy.
See what
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to go full circle. Jeez.
Funtal, you or me?
You, buddy. Go
All
for
right.
it. I'll close it up.
Most of my songs you will hear me recommend are going to be old songs because I just love 50s, 60s. I grew up on it. It means the world to me, and I like the throwback days. I love, doo-wop. I love Elvis. Early rock and roll, Bill Haley and Comets, Buddy Holly, Roy Orbison, those guys. This one was from that time, however, not discovered until the 80s. And I'm going with a specific version. When I worked at Best Buy, I came across a CD collection of Sam Cooke called The Man Who Invented Soul. It's a 4 CD collection, and part of that 4 CDs was live performances. And there are 2 live performances of Sam Cooke's that were recorded and put out for distribution. One was the famous one that most people know of, Sam Cooke live at the Copa. And there was another one called Sam Cooke One Night Stand live at the Harlem Square Club. And that's the one I'm referring to. And the song off of that is Chain Gang, because everybody knows Sam Cooke's Chain Gang. That's the sound of the men. And yep. Ooh. Ah. And that song means a ton to me. I can picture in my mind my daughter in the back seat, middle in her car seat, listening to it, and she knew one of the first, probably maybe the 3rd or 4th song that she learned to sing part of. And that part would come on, and she'd be behind me while we'd be driving wherever we go, and I'd hear, ooh, ah. So that song means the world to me. And I recently discovered the live version on that. And with the Harlem Square Club, the reason it was discovered in '84 was executives at RCA at the time thought, after hearing the recording, that it was too colored for release. And if you listen to his 2 live albums, Live at the Copa and Live at the Harlem Square Club, you can definitely tell an audience difference. Live at the Harlem Square Club is so raw and so passionate, and the fact that you get the crowd in it. Live albums today can be filtered, they can be edited, they can be adjusted so it's more vocal present, more of the actual performer. This isn't. if you want to listen to just a raw performance, listen to this album and just enjoy it. But the story goes, the new head of RCA, as they were looking through the archives, discovered this and immediately put it out. And I was fortunate enough, after some searching online, to find an original copy of it, of the album. And the chain gang, there's a hi-hat, the drummer, there's a section where he just goes off on the hi-hat and you can hear it, and everything about that just resonates with me. So it just reiterated my love for Sam Cooke and what he meant to music, not even getting into what he meant for civil rights, what he meant for the music industry, for minorities and things like that. Just get a chance, listen to Chain Gang live. It'll be on Spotify. It'll be on Apple Music. Chain Gang live from Live at the Harlem Square Club. Sam Cooke, One Night Stand, and you won't be sorry.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Yeah, I was hoping that Sam Cooke would be coming up, and you knowing so much about it and delving into it, I thought for sure Sam Cooke was going to be somebody that you would have jumped into in your Sam or Scott Bakula situation with the Quantum Leap.
Yes.
Save Sam Cooke. So I'm glad that song came up and you picked him and put him on the playlist. Now I knew that I've known you guys for a long time, so I know that the classics are coming from you guys. You guys have that taken care of. So I'm trying to ingest a little youth into this, a little younger, newer things that have come out, and it's along the lines, theme-wise, of what you were talking about with your daughter and hearing her singing something in the background. So the song that I'm adding is from Nikki and the Dove, and it's called "Play It on the Radio." And some of the lyrics of this is, when it first starts off, it says, "There's a song that I used to hear playing on the radio, and I don't hear it played much anymore." And then they talk about, and the chorus is, "Play it on the radio. Play it on the radio." So it's one of those things like you're thinking of a song that you used to hear, but you don't hear it anymore, and you wish you heard it on the radio. And it makes me think about how we're going to define classics now, because it's not something that we're hearing over and over. We don't all have the same forced into listening to the FM or the AM dial. We all have so many options. And for us to be able to find these classics or to have nostalgia 20 years down the line, it's not going to resonate with so many people because we have so many choices. And to get to that classic status, it's not going to be something like you were talking about, Satisfaction and the Stones, or what you're talking about with Sam Cooke. It's going to be hard to find those things. And we're going to hear from big names like Taylor Swift, and Justin Bieber will be like a classic already, like saying songs that are that are classics that I've probably never heard because I haven't been privy to a radio and been forced to listen to it because I'm not controlling the radio or I'm not controlling anything. So with me not, with a lot of people having the choices of streaming whatever we like, we don't even know what we like yet for us to be forced into that. So,
Great call.
so that's why I'm going to try to bring some that I think would be classics if it was on the radio, and played on the radio by Nikki and the Dove. I also have an alternative that was in the movie Anyone But You, from Wet Leg, that came out in 2023, and that is called Loving You. And it's not something I'll put on the list, but it is definitely a good song, a modern song. They were like Best New Artist, won the Grammy in 2023 for 2022 album. And I think I think it's an all girl band, but it's an Aussie band that has a really good sound to it. So I think you guys both have daughters. I think they would really dig Wet Leg.
All right.
That's all I got
Good
to say about that.
Gump. I love how you said you're not forced to listen to the FM or AM dial. Like, growing up, my first car had the cassette deck with the portable CD player. That was the adapter. You put that in there. But yeah, I remember riding with Dad, and
Yep.
AM radio, or it was on Oldies 101.7 because Dad never wanted to listen to today's music,
Correct.
whatever. And so that's where my passion comes from, is the oldies and discussing that music with Dad. But it's weird because now like you said, you can find anything at your fingertips.
Yeah.
You can dive in, and for good or bad, but you can dive into an artist. Oh, who's this? This is that. What? Like, okay, let me look up and see what else I like from it.
Right.
And I love that. But I also hate the fact that these young kids nowadays don't have to listen to terrible songs and then commercials and then terrible songs and then commercials and then flip it to 98.9 The Bear or
Right.
97.3
Yep.
WME. Yep. Uh, where's
They
music?
don't have
Oh,
to.
let me hit number 1, 2, 3. Yep, the presets.
And it
Um,
all depended on who was driving, like which
that's who
parent was
got me.
driving, right?
Yep. Well, see, for us, it didn't matter because mom didn't drive. It was dad. But
Uh,
obviously,
but you had
mom.
uncles too, right? And so you had cool uncles that were listening to better stuff. If Rude, where'd you get your music taste from? If this guy's listening to all of Dad's stuff, where were you getting your stuff?
Probably the radio. Yeah. I got a healthy dose of Elvis stuff too, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
Um, but my dad was never a fan of the Stones or anything. It was from going to that concert.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
enjoy a lot of pop music, growing up, a lot of radio stuff.
Yeah, but
Andy was a
stuff
big
not
boy
you're not.
bands.
What's
Who
that?
again?
Andy was a big boy bands guy.
Nope.
One of his favorite videos, if you guys wanna look for a good video, there's this, boy band that didn't make it probably as much as they should have. It's called Take
Not in the States, but over in Europe.
Right.
That's right. He knew
They didn't make
exactly.
the
I
leap.
love it. I love it. Take That. The song is called Back for Good. Look up the video. I'll throw a link on the social media and just enjoy.
Legendary boy band video.
Yeah.
Oh, we could get in some Timmy T if you wanted to right now.
Wow. That's right, folks. You're here.
Well, you know who
One
was in that Take That was really big over in Europe and especially the UK?
Uh-uh.
Robbie Williams.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
I know that
he was
guy.
in that. He's the one doing that spin around in the rain, Trev, in the
Yeah.
video.
Please
Oh yeah.
do yourselves a favor
So take
when you
that.
hear this,
Yeah,
just watch the
definitely.
video. It's amazing.
Awesome.
Funkle, have you seen this video that we were referring to?
Not this episode, but next week I will have watched that.
Excellent. And you will have enjoyed it, and you will have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Speaking of talk about, we have talked your ears off. And we thank you as always. We're going to get to our closing thoughts. My closing thought for episode 5 is the fact that there are so many topics to talk about when it comes to good friends, good conversation, and how we contribute. We've had the privilege. I've talked to our good buddy Ort, who's dying to come onto the show. He's listened. He's made comments on the YouTube channel. You can go and you can look and see some of the comments he's made. He loves the Ort Normus lock of the week. We'll get into that. He's very excited about that one. He's already coming up with his own ideas for his own cameos onto the show.
He wants to do a spinoff before he's on.
That's our buddy Ort. If
Yep.
you know him, if not, you'll meet him soon on one of the upcoming episodes. But again, the fact that this literally is basically a video version of a group chat that we could have on any given day that runs a couple days is awesome.
Yeah.
All-Star games are coming up. Sports is back. Movies are back in full force. So many things to look forward to. Just excited to be able to talk to you guys about it all. Funkle, your closing thoughts.
Well, I just got a quick fact for you guys
like
as my closing thoughts. We're coming up on something that it only happens twice a year, that there is no professional sports of the big four that are played on a day in the year and that is the day before and the day after the Major League All-Star Game. There are no games played in professional sports.
Wow.
Take that. Well,
Bedford.
that might change this year if there's a couple of WNBA games, if you want to put it in the top 4
What
category.
what date is that? I'm looking it up right now.
That that would be the All-Star Game's the 7th, so that would be the 6th.
No, the 7th is tomorrow. The All-Star Game isn't until a week from Tuesday.
Week from
Next week
Tuesday.
is
Oh yeah,
still
the
full-
announcement, the
yeah,
starter
so-
announcements get made.
Right. So what you'll have to check the calendar. So a week from this Tuesday. is when the
July
All-Star Game-
16th. So Andy, you are looking at July 15th or July 17th.
Take a look.
He's
All right.
excited.
This might be a no longer category.
So what
because
days again am I looking for?
July
15th
15th,
and
or
17th.
July 16th or 17th. July 15th or July 17th.
On the 17th, the drought is over, baby.
Oh,
Yep.
Funky face says it all.
Yeah.
Who
And
breaks
it's
the
even a
drought?
fever game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
better
this-
believe it.
What about the 15th then?
The
because-
15th is nothing on the 15th.
All right. So this year there will only be one day in this calendar that there will not be a professional game played in the United States of America. In the Big
Wow.
Well, it used to be called the Big Four, where you have hockey, NBA, basketball, football, and baseball. But if we want to throw in your WNBA,
Yeah, it's. I mean,
they're
it's
getting the
bringing more
numbers.
games.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's 5. That's 5.
the Andy, you'll be happy. Well, you probably already knew, which is why we were looking at the WNBA schedule. July 14th is the final of the Copa Cup. The Copa Cup, which
What is that?
Wait, what?
Is
Anybody?
that soccer?
Anybody? Anybody?
The Copa Cup is
does
the
this have
soccer
to do
tournament.
with Sam Cook's Copa, or is this different?
Wow, I liked what you did there. No, the Copa Cup is basically
Another
North and South.
made up title for soccer to make it seem relevant. Unreal. Another title every 3 weeks with those guys. Give me a break.
Here we go. All right, now we got some
Woo!
buttons.
Oh,
Woo-wee. Bringing that up and who the champion of the Copa Cup is next week.
yes, I will give you. You heard it here, folks. We've been requested to give you a Copa Cup update, and
Copa Cup date.
yes, yeah, man, this episode has yielded so much.
Oh my gosh, fruitful.
Final thoughts aside from the Copa Cup and the excitement that brings. Andy,
Yeah, we
your
got-
final thoughts.
Put your shopping carts away
There it is. There
and
it
avoid
is.
the clap.
That's good advice.
Again.
That's good advice.
All right, guys, it's that time at the end of the show where we thank you all for listening. Again, just the fun we have. Seinfeld, Jimmy Dugan, all those different quotes. Wishing we were Indiana Jones. Funkel not wanting to be Indiana Jones because he didn't want to face Nazis. There were a
That's
lot
too
of
much
things.
work. Too much work.
I just want to be in a hammock reading my book.
That's right. I almost thought about throwing in Thanos after Infinity War. I was like, Thanos, he's just gardening now. He did it.
But then you
Still
didn't
got
want
his
to
head
change
taken
it
off.
That's in the end war or end game. After Infinity War, that was pretty sad for a lot of people walking out of that theater.
Yeah.
They're like, wait, half of everybody, there's no Spider-Man? Wait. Yeah, that was sad.
You didn't want a glove melted to your hand. I mean, come on. How you going to turn the pages of
I
that
just
book?
wanted to garden, man. I just want to dance. I just want to dance.
We love bringing this to you. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification. Make sure that you comment.
Ding.
Ding, ding.
I ain't hear no bell. We're excited. We love doing this. We want to thank you guys, as always, for listening. It means the world to us. And even if you didn't listen, we'd be having these same conversations. For Andy and Funkel, I'm Travis. This has been Rudimentary episode 5, where we make the basic things difficult. We'll see you next week.